Hello, and welcome to a brief introduction on composting, brought to you by EverGreen ZeroWaste. If you're watching this, it means you've opted into a community composting program, and I'm here to show you how that works. First of all, let's talk about what composting means. So, what is composting? Composting is the practice of capturing organic materials and processing them aerobically, that's with oxygen, at a composting site, as opposed to anaerobically, or without oxygen, as would occur in a landfill. This is important because when something compostable, say a head of lettuce, gets landfilled, it produces methane, a greenhouse gas over 80 times more potent than CO2 in its climate warming potential. Also, organic material doesn't break down into soil in a landfill. Because there isn't oxygen, the microbes that help break down organic material in a compost pile can't really survive in a landfill, meaning it can take up to 25 years for that head of lettuce to decompose when placed in a landfill. If that head of lettuce is instead composted, it produces none of the methane that occurs when landfilling, and finished compost, in fact, has a climate cooling effect by pulling CO2 directly from the atmosphere. Did you know that over 50% of what is typically thrown in the garbage bin is actually compostable? Or that landfills are the third largest source of human-caused greenhouse gas emissions? That makes composting one of the easiest and most effective ways to combat climate change. So, take a moment to pause and think next time you're about to toss something out. So, what can you compost? The general rule of thumb is that you can compost anything that was ever living. Did it come from an animal or a plant? Chances are it can be composted unless it was mixed with something synthetic. This includes all food scraps, even the smelly ones you wouldn't want to put in a backyard compost pile, like meat, bones, and dairy. It also includes many paper products, so long as they don't have a plastic lining. Greasy pizza boxes, paper towels, napkins, and tissues are all good to go, as are shredded paper, paperboard boxes, and more. Have a pile of leaves and twigs from a yard cleanup? Did one of your houseplants die an untimely death? Yard and plant waste can also be composted with ease. Just make sure there aren't any branches larger than 1 inch in diameter. Remember what I said about composting anything that was ever living? That includes lots of other natural materials like hair, fur, cotton balls, fireplace ash, and more. Remember to take a moment to ask yourself, was this ever alive, before tossing anything in the wrong bin. Lastly, some disposable to-go food products are specifically designed to be composted in an industrial composting facility, like the one that EverGreen ZeroWaste uses. Just make sure they're clearly labeled compostable. Specifically, look for any of these certifications. Okay, now that we know what does go in the compost, how about some things that should not be composted? This one should be a no-brainer, but no plastic bags should ever be put in the compost, even if they're holding compostable materials. Don't forget that even in a plastic bag, organic materials will still release methane if landfilled, so it's always important to take the time and separate out any food scraps before properly disposing of the container. Disinfecting wipes might seem like they would be compostable, but typically they're lined with plastic for durability and should be thrown in the trash. Plastic-lined paper products are some of the most common contaminants we see in the compost bin. This includes products like frozen food containers, traditional to-go food cups, and cartons like for soup and dairy. It also includes many takeout food containers, even many of those brown ones that look like they might be compostable. Keep in mind that only products clearly labeled with the word compostable should be placed in the compost bin. There's a lot of deliberate misinformation out there to make products seem better for the environment than they actually are. The following labels do not mean compostable and must be thrown in the trash. Earth-friendly or eco-friendly, made from plant starch, biodegradable, green, oxodegradable, eco anything, bio anything, made from plants. All of those are just greenwashing buzzwords that do not mean compostable. Now that you know what can and cannot be composted, let's talk about specifics of how you can compost with this program at home. Whenever you fill your bucket, just bring it down to the cart or dumpster to empty and repeat. We'll be bi-weekly to empty the cart or dumpster and take it to a certified composting facility. Here it will be ground up, sifted through, piled into rows, and after a few weeks, it'll become certified compost for use on landscaping projects, gardens, and farms. For us, that's the coolest part. Particularly if you're eating locally grown foods, you can truly see your compost go full circle from the local farm to your kitchen, to your compost bin, to the compost facility, and back to the farm. Each spring, we provide finished compost back to our customers so they can see their efforts come full circle to benefit houseplants and gardens. As for billing, depending on how your particular program is set up, you will likely receive an invoice from your HOA or your building manager, but please feel free to reach out to us with any confusion. Lastly, we definitely recommend downloading our app, Love Zero Waste. It can help answer any question you might have on proper disposal of anything you're looking to get rid of. And don't hesitate to give EverGreen ZeroWaste a call at 970-930-7900 or shoot us an email at info@evergreenzerowaste.com.